Chapter 3. The air was clean and crisp, so I went outside to enjoy the weather. The sun was almost down and almost everything was in shade, except for the distant treetops to the east. Those high treetops were still lit up by the sun. It was almost as if the trees were reaching up for the last bit of sunlight before the night came. The cardinals were pecking around the yard for a last bit of nourishment before hiding out for the night. The cardinals always came around to feed just before nightfall. Mama and Nana Murdy often put out old bread, and the redbirds knew this. They were close by, and they pecked at the bread before Mama or Nana Murdy even got back in the house. I loved to watch the birds come in, and I wished they would eat out of my hand. I sat on a tree stump and watched the birds, and my mind wandered. I never even noticed a visitor walking through the yard. It was Miss Bear. "Hello, Eb. It sure is a nice autumn evening," I replied. "Yes, Miss Bear. That's why I'm out here." Miss Bear continued, "Eb, as we all know, this dreadful war has created a shortage of men, and the rest of us have to take up the slack. Our school is no different. Eb, our school needs you. Cold weather is here, so we need you to start coming to school by 5 o'clock each morning to fire the coal boiler so other students will be able to arrive to a warm schoolhouse." I smiled. "I'll do it." Miss Bear put her arm around me and said, "I knew you would, Eb. That's why I came to you first. Here's a key to the school. Take good care of it, and I fully trust that you'll only use the key to warm the school on school days." "Yes, Miss Bear." Miss Bear continued, "Tomorrow is Halloween. Are you going trick-or-treating?" "I don't know," I replied. Miss Bear said, "If you do, please come to my house. I have plenty of candy, and I'll give you a little extra for helping at school. Now you need to start heating the school tomorrow morning. Don't forget. You'll be there before I will, so I'll see you bright and early." Miss Bear left, and I looked around and noticed that the birds and the last remaining sunlight had gone away. Morning came, and I was more than ready to get to school. I was dressed and out the door by 4:15. There was a bright moon, and I could clearly see a bright frost on the ground. I walked through the cold darkness all alone. I imagined that must have been how Papa and the other men felt when they had to get up and go to work so early each day. Holling's house was up ahead, and I could see a light in the kitchen. I knew his wood stove was roaring, and I wanted to feel its warmth. I walked up and tapped on the door, and Holling opened the door and greeted me with a smile. "Hey, Eb, what in the world are you doing out so early?" I replied, "I'm the new boiler man at school. I have to fire up the coal boiler and have the school warm before the other students arrive." "That's a mighty big responsibility," said Holling. "Well, I'm sure they gave you the job for a reason. They must really trust you. Have you had any breakfast?" "No, sir," I said. Holling said, "Then take a seat. Eggs and bread coming right up." Holling fed me a nice breakfast, which I greatly appreciated, and I was still amazed at the way he broke eggs and cooked with only one hand. The food was good, and it helped warm me and get ready for the day. "Thanks, Holling. It was delicious." "You're welcome, Eb. Just stop in every school morning, and we'll have breakfast together. How's that sound?" I smiled. "Sounds good. Eb, today is Halloween. Are you going trick-or-treating?" I shook my head. "No, I don't think so. I just don't feel like it. Trick-or-treating is for children, and I just don't much feel like a child no more." Holling replied, "I know what you mean. Sometimes a boy has to be a man before he's supposed to." Holling took a sip of coffee and continued, "Eb, maybe you can come here this evening. We can sit out on the porch and give out candy. I've never handed out candy before. I usually just turn out all the lights and lock the doors. I guess that wasn't very nice of me." I said, "Okay, that sounds like more of an adult thing for me to do." Holling grinned. "Good. I'll go today and buy some candy. Maybe you can spread the word at school that I'll be handing out candy this year. Everybody is welcome." I returned, I'll do that, Holling. See you this evening. I went on my way to my new job. Later that evening, I joined Holling on his front porch. The first trick-or-treater came. It was a little red-haired girl with big blue eyes. She stopped about 5 feet from the porch and lowered her head and looked at the ground. She slowly raised her head to meet eyes with Holling, and he leaned forward and smiled. The little girl returned the smile and stepped forward to get her candy. "Happy Halloween, little one," said my friend. The little girl thanked Holling and ran off into the evening. More and more people came to get candy, and Holling never stopped smiling. "It's nice to see so many trick-or-treaters. I was worried they wouldn't come," said Holling. "We handed out candy until well after dark, and we almost ran out." Holling said, "Eb, take this leftover candy home with you. Share it with your mama and Nana Murdy. I think I need some coffee." Holling went inside and made some coffee, and I could smell it on the front porch. It smelled so tempting on such a crisp autumn evening. He came back out to his porch with a steaming cup. "Can I have a cup of coffee?" I asked. "I guess so," replied Holling. It was my first cup of coffee, and it didn't taste nearly as good as it smelled, but I kept sipping the hot beverage because I didn't want to waste it. Holling and I sat on the porch and talked in the darkness, but the moon was out and bright, and there was also some light from the house that came through the window. It had turned cold, and I could see Holling's breath whenever he spoke. It looked like he was breathing smoke or steam. Holling was good company. Holling said, "Eb, have you managed to make a friend at school?" I replied, "Not really. I sit alone at recess and keep to myself." Holling continued, "I have some advice. Find a boy who is like you, a boy who is quiet and sits all alone at recess. He probably needs a friend too. That's something you both have in common. Do you know anybody like that?" I said, "Yeah, I do. There's a boy in my class who never talks. He seems awful lonely, almost sad." Holling smiled. "Well, maybe you two can become lunch pals." "That's good advice, Holling. Thanks." The next day of school came, and I found myself eating lunch all alone again. I thought about Holling's advice, and there was little Samuel Jones, just sitting at a bench all alone. His red hair shone in the sun, and his freckled face just stared at the ground. I decided to walk over to him. "Hey, Samuel, can I sit with you?" "I guess so," said Samuel. We sat quietly and ate without talking. Finally, Samuel spoke up. "Eb, my mom told me that your dad is over in Europe. My dad is too. Our moms worked together at the hosiery mill. That's how she knew." I said, "Oh, I didn't know that. And yeah, Papa has been away for some time. I miss him." Samuel nodded. "I know how you feel. Would you like one of my cookies?" "Yes, thanks." Samuel and I sat and chatted, and it was nice to have someone to eat lunch with. We became lunch pals on that day, so we no longer had to eat alone. We both remained the two quietest students, and we never spoke to each other except during lunch, and we were never close friends, but we were friends.